Anne Margaret is the woman who spent the last year of her life giving her children away.
I'd love to go to heaven with you, Mommy.
Who will love my children. Wednesday, February 16th, it's Dom DeLuise in his first special with guest Burt Reynolds, Mel Brooks, and a host of others, Dom DeLuise and friends. Friday, February 18th, Bob Newhart is the president. Madeline Kahn is first lady. Gilda Radner is first daughter. Can America survive the first family? Sunday, February 20th, William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and the Starship Enterprise in Star Trek the Motion Picture. ABC's Spectacular February continues next week. Saturday, can T.J. Hooker stop a corrupt politician from terrorizing teenage runaways? Then, a special Valentine cruise has everyone falling in and out of love on the Love Boat. And a dream to be queen. Caesar! Turns to Off With Her Head on Fantasy Island.
Crime in America. It costs you money, subjects you to fear, degrades the quality of your life. And eventually, half of all Americans will be its victim. Because it affects you, ABC's World News Tonight will devote 2 full weeks to crime in America, beginning Monday.
Racehorse Haynes pulls a surprise by resting the defense in the Ian Smalley trial without calling a single witness. Plus, it appears Israeli Defense Minister Ariel Sharon is on his way out. Join us for these stories and all the day's news coming next.
Sure, we're experts. Transmissions, carburetors, what have you.
A lot of places claim to be transmission experts.
Sure, we're experts. We've been fixing transmissions for close to a month and a half now. Good month and a half.
Sure, we're experts. Why, we fixed this gentleman's transmission 18 times alone. 19. 19.
Take
19.
your car to the real transmission experts.
20.
The place that only fixes transmissions and fixes more of them than anyone. AMCO. Why go anywhere else?
Nothing much important has changed in the town where we make Herman Joseph's beer. Just look, Frank's been cutting hair in the same spot for over 20 years. And our brewery dates back when people took time to do things right. We prefer the old way, like aging HJ longer than ordinary beers. One taste, and you'll know why we still take our time. Herman Joseph's. Taste the difference time can make.
The computerized business. Inevitable, yet unpredictable. But you can stay out of blind alleys with DataPoint. Because DataPoint business computers work with DataPoint electronic mail and DataPoint word processing and DataPoint telephone equipment, all in a single expandable system. DataPoint can provide you with the vital business information equipment you need when you need it. DataPoint.
Rock Hudson and the Hornet's Nest at 11.
This is the News 8 Update.
With Iola Johnson, Tracy Rowland, Troy Dungan with weather, and Carl Larkey on sports.
Good evening from a snowy national capital tonight where the president has compromised with Congress on a jobs bill that could put thousands of Americans back to work. And the future of Social Security could be bleaker than we thought. But first, there are new developments in the arms smuggling trial of Ian Smalley. Iola?
Thank you, Tracy. The trial of British arms merchant Ian Smalley today moved abruptly closer to conclusion. Smalley's lawyer, Racehorse Haynes, rested his case without calling a single defense witness. Channel 8's Bill Brown reports it caught everyone by surprise.
The government portrays Ian Smalley as a shifty wheeler dealer with shadowy connections that enable him to peddle war weapons illegally around the globe. But the Jolly Britain's lawyers call him an honest businessman who was entrapped and cheated out of more than $1 million. In trying to prove that Smalley plotted to illegally ship tanks and missiles to the Middle East, the government ushered in a parade of witnesses, including Chief Informant Gary Howard. After lunch, the prosecution rested, and it was the turn of defense lawyer Racehorse Haynes. Haynes had a list of 37 witnesses and was expected to call at least 10. But minutes after the other side had finished, Haynes rose and said, "The defense rests." The courtroom was stunned. Not a witness was called, and no defense was presented.
At the conclusion of the prosecution's case, we analyze what it is that they have alleged, and we compare it with what they have proved, and we conclude that they have not met the burden that's imposed upon them by law. Then No citizen has to, or no accused person has to prove their own innocence, and so you conclude the case.
You simply feel that they didn't prove the charges, then?
That's our position.
Smalley seemed happier tonight and confident. Earlier, the government had dropped 6 of the counts against him, charges of making false statements and buying a shotgun and 5 handguns from a Dallas sporting goods store. Final arguments come Friday morning. The jury could begin deliberating in early afternoon. Bill Brown, Channel 8 News at the federal courthouse.
In national news tonight, neither the State Department nor the White House has commented tonight on the pending shakeup in the Israeli cabinet. But Defense Minister Ariel Sharon is on the way out. The Israeli cabinet today overwhelmingly approved the findings of the committee that investigated the Beirut massacres. And that committee had recommended Sharon's removal from office. But Sharon reportedly has refused to resign. Israeli sources say the cabinet has already voted to fire him. His removal will likely come on Sunday at the next regular session of the cabinet. And at that time, Sharon also will be barred from taking another cabinet post. And while the Israeli cabinet debated the fate of Sharon, his supporters and opponents demonstrated outside in the streets of Jerusalem. Suddenly, there was an explosion. A hand grenade was tossed into a crowd of demonstrators. The blast killed 1 person and wounded at least 9 others, including 3 policemen.
More big rigs should be back on the nation's highways soon. Michael Parkhurst, the leader of the Independent Truckers Association, has called for an end to that 11-day-old strike. Parkhurst signaled the end after 4 congressmen agreed to lobby their colleagues on behalf of the truckers. But tonight, there's no guarantee that Congress will seriously reconsider the gas tax bill that triggered the trucker strike in the first place. And while the trucker strike is ending, there's concern tonight that another strike involving American Airlines that's set to begin at midnight tomorrow will possibly happen. Channel 8's Peter Van Sant reports.
American airline officials insist a strike will be averted, but they're preparing for a shutdown nonetheless. Channel 8 News has learned that the airline will fly a reduced schedule. Non-union mechanics will be temporarily hired to replace those on strike. And American managers will assist in all service areas, including baggage handling. Sources say a number of management people have been flown to various cities to be in place should a strike be called. Reports of a possible strike have already hurt American Airlines. Thousands of dollars have been lost in canceled ticket sales.
It's just unavoidable. People have plans to make, and they have to go with a carrier that they know is going to be flying. And they've either taken the option of double booking on another airline just to protect themselves, or to cancel the trip altogether.
The deadlock in new contract talks is over the issue of cross-utilization. American wants its employees to work like those of Muse Air, where one employee, like this woman, helps dock a jet, unloads baggage, and pushes the jet away from the gate. At American, union rules state that an employee can only do one job.
Tonight, the talks continue at this hotel in Arlington, and observers believe the negotiations will run right up to the strike deadline of midnight tomorrow night. Sources say cross-utilization and the hiring of part-time employees are the only issues that haven't been resolved. They are also the most difficult. Peter Van Sant, Channel 8 News in Arlington.
The Reagan administration is taking a step toward putting some of the nation's unemployed back to work tonight. White House officials today went before top House Democrats with a $4.3 billion jobs bill proposal. White House Chief of Staff James Baker and Budget Director David Stockman presented House Majority Leader Jim Wright and House Speaker Tip O'Neill with a bill Wright called wonderfully responsive. The $4.3 billion package is for public works, such as the maintenance of public buildings and airports and waterways, and humanitarian aid for the unemployed. Wright said that the group stopped short of reaching a final agreement so that other congressional Democrats and Republicans can now review the bill. But both Wright and O'Neill said the president had come a long way in meeting the country's employment needs. Most Texans know that the Social Security system is going broke. Unless Congress acts quickly to save one fund, old age benefits will run out by summertime. And the Social Security changes now in the mill here in Washington will place the burden of salvation on the shoulders of most Americans, both young and old.
Congressional leaders and the administration say they are now committed to passing into law a compromise $168 billion solution. Those now on Social Security will continue to draw their benefits, while major changes are made in the plan that will primarily affect those not yet drawing Social Security. Here are some of those changes. Steeper payroll taxes. Delays in cost of living increases for the nation's 36 million retirees. Pensioners with higher incomes will have to pay taxes on half of their benefits. Newly hired federal employees and workers for nonprofit organizations will have to join the Social Security system. And for the first time, the General Treasury will be tapped for billions of dollars just to keep the system going. The chairman of the Congressional Subcommittee on Social Security lays the blame for the continuing problems squarely on the back of Congress. Austin Representative Jake Pickle says Congress has been afraid to deal with Social Security problems for at least the past 2 years as the system went only deeper into debt. And now, says Pickle, the American people are demanding action.
Nearly everybody, and this is our young and our old, are willing at this point in our history to make changes in the Social Security program that they would have done or accepted a year or two ago, for the simple reason that we know now that we've got problems. We know we can't just keep operating like it is. We've got to make some structural changes. And that they're willing to do it because it won't hurt anybody badly. And they're willing to do it now and get this behind us. What's aggravating them is the continuous discussion and delay because it keeps everybody in a state of fear and frustration. And we must stop that.
Congressman Pickle says the Social Security Administration should deliver to his subcommittee by tomorrow the actual figures on the frightening debt the system has run up. He expects action perhaps by April with full bipartisan support. And he says it is his belief that while Social Security will be changed, it will be salvaged for the old and for the young.
There is one other note on Social Security tonight. Some needy, disabled Americans were cut from the benefits as Social Security administrators tried to cut their costs. But no later than next January, and perhaps by this summer, Social Security administrators will have to meet face-to-face with people they think should lose their benefits. And that way, the truly disabled can be readily identified. Iola?
In other economic news tonight, the bulls have returned to Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Average shot up more than 20 points to close near 1,088. Rumors that the Fed would continue to push interest rates down were said to be responsible for the rally. Still to come on tonight's update, firemen rescue 2 men trapped inside a Fort Worth water tower.
Plus, a man who was only 12 hours away from execution may soon be released.
And women's roles in the Army are continuing to change, and women aren't very happy about it. We'll have these stories and much more coming next.
If you're going to Albuquerque, Delta is ready when you are. With 3 new nonstops, morning, afternoon, and evening. Delta is your airline with new nonstops to Raleigh-Durham, too, twice a day. Big discount fares to both of these cities, too. So if you're going to Albuquerque or Raleigh-Durham, these planes, this company, these people will take you there. Welcome aboard. Delta is ready